Note: this video was found in the public domain, public access, so no copyright infringement was intentional or intended. It's quite an old video. We're not sure of the date, but it is quite old because these two people talking within this video may have both passed on. Jack Van Impe and his wife Rexella Van Impe. Today we bring you this very old video lecture titled Dictator of the New World Order from Jack Van Impe and his wife. In regards to the New World Order, the book and the Book of Revelations, we are simply doing a comparison of his or her claims of all being in the Book of Revelation with the original, very old, ancient Galilean Aramaic manuscripts of the original ancient Apostolic Church of the East, with the modern Americanized, modern English translations of scriptures all have today. Because, surprisingly, it is very, very different to today's translations and numerous claims by various pastors, evangelists, street preachers, theologians and scholars. We left out the first 55 seconds roughly of the music, the introduction, because we probably could score a copyright claim on that. Okay, so bear with us. But we felt it was important to see the title sequence. So the imagery of what's supposed to happen before the end of times.
I cannot tell you what a joy it is to be with you and to have the blessed privilege of sharing God's Word with you, especially in the day and age in which we are living. So much is happening around the world connected with the Bible, and Jack Van Impe certainly is the one that can open the Bible and help us to see exactly how God has the future planned in His Word. And I just want to say that he's had a real burden on his heart to do this video for you, entitled Dictator of the New World Order, Alive and Waiting in the Wings. Alive and Waiting in the Wings. And Jack, you really wanted to do this to follow up the last one about the New World Order.
Yes. Part one was the New World Order rising. We've never seen such an overwhelming number of orders. It's just such a blessing to help us stay on the air and to reach all the world for Christ through the funds that were brought in through this video. Now, I'm not going to use parts of number one, just the first part on the 7 major organizations that created the New World Order. And we'll see it come to pass very soon. Would take over an hour of a repeat in here, and that wouldn't be fair if you bought a second one. So I will occasionally mention where I did not mention part 1 in here, so that you really need the study of both 1 and 2 to get the full picture, almost 3 to 4 hours of tremendous Bible study. Now I want to say right now, we are living in the last times. Do you know that what I'm going to show you today is the final thing that happens just before the Lord Jesus comes to earth? But first he comes for us, 7 years ahead of his coming to earth, and it's called the Rapture. And we're going to give you the entire chronology of what's coming soon.
Jack, I'm very excited.
And we have come across a lot of people that says, no, the Rapture's a fairy tale, it's all fantasy, it's all incorrect, etc., whatever they come up with. But we actually found it in the original ancient, very old Galilean Aramaic manuscripts, and it's in bold type, that there is a rapture. There will be a rapture. We've done videos on that. We could probably put them as an end screen of this particular video.
This video, and we are going to be referring to global headlines as we go along so that we can connect it all with you. But I'm going to go back just a little bit, and we all remember Walter Cronkite. My, what a wonderful journalist he was. He was a man that was impeccable as far as relating what the truth was from around the world, and also his integrity. Well-respected man. Walter Cronkite. We are in a leaderless world. I'm going to go on here for you to read something else with me by Julian Snyder, the economist. We have a rendezvous with the world dictator, and his appearance may be soon. And we all remember Henry Spaak. Now, he was the Belgian premier and one of the founders of the European Community, now the European Union. I'd like for you to see, if you will, and read with me his statement. It's astounding. Europe is looking for a man so powerful that he will hold the allegiance of all the people. But be man or devil, we are ready to receive him. Man or devil? They don't care who it is, as long as he has the power to control the people of the world. Now, that's according to Henry Spaak. Jack?
Okay, so these people are hinting that they're waiting for the certain powerful leader, the one, okay, who will control all the world, all the peoples, etc. So if these people are of the New World Order, the Illuminati, Freemasonry, etc., perhaps they know something that we don't know beforehand. Okay? They're just trying to figure out who that particular one world leader will be. Okay, so we are curious about Jack Van Impe. So we looked at his history. Okay, he's an American evangelist who had a half-hourly weekly television series, Jack Van Impe Presents, featuring eschatological commentary on the news of the week through an interpretation of the Bible. This is where they can go wrong, people that do this sort of thing. The program is around the world through both, or aired around the world through both religious broadcasters and the purchase of paid programming time on commercial television stations such as Daystar, etc. Right? That's the same or similar thing. They pay to be on the air, right? So they need your money besides, you know, covering their house payments, their jet payments, their car payments, etc., etc., so they can live that flash lifestyle. He was known as the Walking Bible, having memorized most of the King James Version of the Bible, most of it. His wife, Rexella, shared his television ministry as co-host. The early life of marriage. Okay. According to Van Impe, he and his father, Oscar, played the accordion at nightclubs, and Oscar regularly swore and drank alcohol and believed that religion was hogwash. At meals, Van Impe would drink alcoholic beverages along with his father, which is a European tradition. Then when Van Impe was 12 years old, Oscar converted to evangelical Christianity, and Oscar and Jack together smashed all their bottles of alcoholic beverages. Since that event, Van Impe did not consume any alcohol. Jack Van Impe played accordion, etc., etc. In 1948, he graduated from high school and entered Detroit Bible Institute, where he earned his diploma in 1952. It was then that he began his career as a preacher and evangelist, an extensive recording career. While working with the Billy Graham Crusades, he was at a Youth for Christ rally with Chuck Oman, a friend of Jack's, who was a trumpeter for Percy Crawford's Youth on the March television broadcast. Here, Jack Van Impe met his future wife Rexella, May Shelton, who was an organist with the Crusades, etc., etc. And they started Jack Van Impe Ministries around August 21, 1954. Okay, and there's more information here. Van Impe believed that Revelation 13 predicts that a single world political leader, the beast, which is actually symbolic for the nation, right, and a single world religious leader, the false prophet, will emerge. Who is the false prophet? But the rapture will happen. It's this is a rapture before the tribulation, where Christ comes back and grabs all the Christians, and they end up in the clouds with him and reign with him for 1,000 years, all that sort of stuff. The rapture will happen before either leader comes to power. He believes that the Bible teaches that the world will be organised into 10 political subdivisions, based on the 10-district plan set up by the Club of Rome. And that this 10-division world empire will be jointly ruled by the European Union and the Islamic world. Is the European Union still up? Or is it something else now? In the Islamic world, which he believed are represented by the 2 iron legs of the prophetic dream statue of the Book of Daniel. Okay, so this extremism, the extremists will be the muscle that go out and enforce it, possibly, on the world. Which he believed are represented by the 2 iron legs of the prophetic dream statue in the Book of Daniel. Van Impe believed in the prophecy of the popes. Okay. We have a book called The Last Pope. It's pretty much the same as this, probably. And that according to said prophecy, Pope Francis is Peter the Roman, the predicted pope who will preside during Armageddon, the end times, right? That great battle, the tribulation, etc., which is supposedly a place called Megiddo or something like that, where the Egyptians fought somebody else and won, and all this sort of stuff, as far as we can remember. Van Impe, a premillennial dispensationalist, that Jesus will physically return to the earth before the millennium, heralding a literal 1,000-year golden age of peace. It's based upon a literal interpretation of Revelation 21-6. And so forth. Van Impe, a premillennial dispensationalist, preached a pre-tribulation rapture of the body of Christ, and also said that one world religion will form named Chrislam. So it's a mixture of Christianity and Islam, or Muslim. The joining of the world's 2 largest religions, Christianity and Islam. He believed that the Bible states that the world political leader will come in peaceably, per Daniel 11:12. And create a 7-year peace deal involving Israel, per Daniel 9:27. Then, 3.5 years into the peace, Russia, the interpreted meaning of Rosh, from Ezekiel 38:2 and 39:1. Van Impe also identified Meshech and Tubal from the same passages as Moscow and Tobolsk, respectively, along with its Middle Eastern allies Persia, Kush and Put. So that would be Persia. Kush was actually in Mesopotamia, so that was the Syrians. And Put, which is probably the Egyptians, right? Because they were descendants of one of the sons of Noah. Was it Put, Mithraim, and Canaan? From Ezekiel 38:5. See, realise here that this Cush here is a sea. It's talking about that tribe, that group of people in Mesopotamia. The K is talking about these descendants who went into Africa and merged with the Africans, intermarried, etc., had sons, daughters, etc., and they called themselves Cush with a capital K. Okay, there's a difference here. Okay, so they'll break peace by invading Israel, according to Ezekiel 38, and the military of Russia and its allies will be decimated by nuclear warfare and pushed back to Siberia. Then China, the interpreted meaning of kings from the east, from Revelation 16:12. Will invade, and the military of China will likewise be decimated when Jesus returns. So you've got to be careful of this, because this is actually incorrect. That particular verse in the original ancient, very old Galilean Aramaic is talking about the kings of the sun. We thought it was Japanese, right? Kings of the rising sun, but it actually translates as the kings of the sun, or the kings of the east. The Euphrates at that time dries up, which gave them access to a place called in the Hebrew Armageddon, which supposedly translates in the nearest English equivalent as Berlin. They went in there, they started all of these wickedness, okay, according to Rabbi Reuven, I think it is, his video, warning to the Jews, etc. And we compared that, what he stated in his video, with Revelation 16:12, etc., from the Galilean Aramaic manuscripts translated into the nearest English equivalent, and we found out there was a match. Okay, established fact, even though these two, Rabbi Reuven and Victor N. Alexander from Syria, have never sat in the same room and one swayed the other. They both agree to who this actual place in the Hebrew, Armageddon, is. Okay, and they started all this stuff up there and so forth. Okay, so it isn't the Chinese. This is all Nostradamus and his predictions, right? That's probably where it's coming from, because he's saying the same things, the yellow peril, all that sort of stuff. Okay, Mark 13:9, you must be on your guard. You will be handed over to your local councils and flogged in synagogues. Well, that's in those days, right? That's what it's implying to. Okay, many will say, oh, that's the future. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. All you people are going to get grabbed from the churches by these local authorities, and then persecuted, perhaps even tormented, all that sort of stuff in your churches. Van Impe at various times in his last decade seemed very urgent that all signs had been fulfilled, but never mentions that Christians were being flogged in synagogues. In the September 3, 2016 episode of Jack Van Impe Presents, a news headline is interpreted as fulfilling the prophecy in Isaiah that the city of Damascus would be completely destroyed, increasing Van Impe's insistence that the end of time would happen very, very soon. Strangely, Van Impe believed that at any one moment the 24 time zones on Earth would be labelled by 3 different days. His confusion was stated more than once because he felt it fulfilled the prophecy that no man would know the day of Jesus' return. Okay, so there is the argument of that verse. Is it found in Matthew? It states in your modern English versions that no one knows the hour, the time of the day, etc., when the Christ would return, not even the Christ. But we found in the original Galilean Aramaic that if Christ is God, then he would know, wouldn't he? Okay, so it says only the Father alone. It doesn't say Jesus the Christ or the Son of God doesn't know. Okay, it's a mistranslation, okay, in your modern versions. Okay, Jack Van Impe presents health and death. What happened to him? Okay, and then they mention something about a guy called Arthur Pink as a great Bible scholar. So we decided to have a look at that guy, who was an English Bible teacher who sparked a renewed interest in the exposition of Calvinism. What was Calvinism? The Reformed tradition, Reformed Protestantism, Reformed Christianity, or simply Reformed, is a major branch of Protestantism that followed the Christian theological tradition. Okay, these were originally the Reformists, of adherents of the Roman Catholic Church, who eventually separated from them as claimed and started up their own Protestant church. They were Reformists who protested against the Roman Catholic Church, Martin Luther, Tyndale, etc. Right? Some were excommunicated, some were martyred, etc., etc. But people like Martin Luther were still affiliated, connected to the Roman Catholic Church. Even those ones out there that are Protestants, and they say, oh yeah, we've got nothing to do with them, it's wrong, because their clothing that they wear is very similar to the Roman Catholic, and also their practices, Lent, etc., etc. They're still performing those Roman Catholic based traditions. Okay, so little known in his lifetime, Pink became one of the most influential evangelical authors in the second half of the 20th century. And it talks about when he was born, all this sort of stuff. Desiring to become a minister but unwilling to attend a liberal theological college in England, Pink very briefly studied at Moody Bible Institute. That's where a lot of them do, like Billy Graham, etc., etc. Probably Jimmy Swaggart. Before taking the pastorate of the Congregational Church in Silverton, Colorado in 1912, Pink left Silverton, probably for California, and took a joint pastorate of churches in rural Burkesville and Albany, Kentucky, USA, and so forth. And by this time, Pink had become acquainted with prominent dispensational fundamentalists, such as Harry Ironside and Ernest C. Gaebelein, etc., etc. More information on him. Okay, then he got really ill apparently. Pink's acclaimed contemporary D. Martin Lloyd-Jones received spiritual benefit from reading Pink and recommended him to others. To one young minister he said, "Don't waste your time reading Barth and Brunner. You'll get nothing from them to aid you with preaching. Read Pink." But Lloyd-Jones also said, "If I had behaved as Pink did, I would have achieved nothing at all. I had to be very patient and take a very long term look at things. Otherwise I would have been dismissed and the whole thing would have been finished. Furthermore, without the assistance and companionship of his wife, who dedicated herself completely to him and his work, Pink would have, as he freely admitted, been overwhelmed and probably would have achieved little even in writing." Theologically, Pink was rejected during his lifetime because of his opposition to Arminianism. Must be some form of religion there. A movement of Protestantism initiated in the early 17th century, etc. But after his death, there was a major shift of evangelical opinion towards Calvinistic theology, and so forth. After Banner Truth Trust republished his book in 1961, modifying it to remove Pink's alleged hyper-Calvinism, the book sold 177,000 copies by 2004. Okay, so back to this video. So you have to give these biographies, histories of these people, so you know who you're dealing with. Were they good? Were they the real deal, or were they something sinister behind the scenes?
We have three men here, well-respected men, and certainly they have something to say about the need for a dictator.
Yes, and he's going to be a man, 2 Thessalonians 2:3, but he's going to be controlled by the power of Satan. And that's Revelation chapter 13, verses 2 and 3. But even under those circumstances, he's going to be worshipped by all of the people of the world, Revelation 13:8. And he even comes to the point where he thinks himself as God. Daniel 11:36. We'll see all of this later.
There have been some men who said, hey, I can dictate the world, I can control the world, and I'm going to give you some names, and you will recognize these names as men who, some people said, yes, they are going to be the dictator of a whole world order. Here are some. First, Kaiser Wilhelm, remember him? Benito Mussolini, and of course, you look at that face, we'll never forget him, Adolf Hitler, and Joseph Stalin. Now, those are astounding names, and Jack, I'm sure that he has many, many others on your mind, don't you, other than those?
You should have included Mao Zedong. Boy,
yes.
That guy murdered millions there in China. But let's go a little further. Today, we have various names. Right now, we have Chavez of Venezuela. He just took over all of the broadcasting stations.
Don't forget, this is old news.
We have Ahmadinejad of Iran. We've had Castro of Cuba, but he's near death's door.
Is he dead?
And then there are many today who actually believe that this man called President Barack Obama is actually leading into a dictatorship.
And many say that Barack Obama's name in the Hebrew means the one who fell of lightning, or something to do with lightning. Yeah, from lightning he fell, or something like that. Go check it out. Don't take our word for it, the net translation of it, because we could have it wrong, but it's something like that. He fell from the sky, lightning or something like that. Yeah, there was lightning and he fell from the sky, something along those lines. Go check it out yourself. Is it coincidence, or is he actually that devil, or some sort of demon or something like that, fallen angel or whatever they claim?
Do you know that Senator Byrd, a Democrat, said, we have no control anymore as senators and congressmen? This man, and I didn't know when he wrote the letter about it that he was referring to 32 czars.
32 Caesars.
Who are not appointed by Senate or Congress. And these czars are only accountable to the president. And these czars control various factions of the world and America, as how they work with the world. And two of these czars were and are communists. One just resigned, Van Jones, who was in head of the stimulus program. I wonder where he divided all the money, because nobody really knows where it is right now. Not much has been accomplished through it. But then there's Newt Gingrich, who appeared on the Greta Van Susteren show and said, "We are headed for a dictatorship in the United States of America, and this is for the first time in our history. God bless and help America."
Very, very sober, Jack. Well, I'm going to ask Jack and put him on the spot here. Why could none of these men have been the dictator, like Adolf Hitler and some of the others? Why, Jack? Did it have to be a certain profile that they had to fulfill before they could be that one?
Rexella, I get so tired of these Christians who say, "Oh, we'll never see the coming of Jesus in our lifetime. We've always heard of wars and rumors of wars. Nothing has changed." And they fulfill 2 Peter 3:3. Knowing.
Okay, we'll have a look at 2 Peter 3:3 before we shut this down. It's the first part. Okay, what does it say? Okay, just to end this video, 2 Peter 3:3 in the original Aramaic, Galilean Aramaic. Just trying to find it for you. 2 Peter 3:3. So, as you should know this beforehand, that there will come in the final days mockers who will mock while they go around according to their own pleasures. Exactly, that's what's happening today. Okay? Trolls, mockers, etc. And they shall say, "Where is the kingdom that he bought?" It's all phony, it's all a load of rubbish, all this sort of stuff. These different channels and stuff like that say that. Agnostic, atheists, and so forth. Say, "Oh yeah, but nah, this contradicts it, this isn't true, it's all fantasy." Where is the kingdom that he bought? Jesus Christ, right? For as our ancestors discovered, everything is still as it was in the beginning of creation. While they sought the kingdom that was lost on them, how from the beginning the heavens came into being, and the earth was differentiated from the waters, or separated from the waters below and the waters above. And the manifestation of Allah, or God, this is the Christ, right? He created humankind. They that brought this world's destruction by the flood with their own hands. See, the wicked men of that time caused that flood to happen, right? The heavens now and the earth stands by his manifestation, that revelation, Jesus the Christ, as they are preserved for the fire of the day, on the day of judgment, and the destruction of a depraved humanity. Okay, so that's going to come upon this destruction, right? They're going to have to pay the price for their sins, right? They're rejecting the Christ, turning their back on him, and mocking him, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel, give us a like, add your comments below, and we'll get back to you on this as soon as we can. And then share this with all your family, friends, and others. And watch out for part 2, part 3, part 4 of this, the Dictator of the New World Order, according to Jack Van Impe and his wife Rexella. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, our latest video upload.